Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Zhou had used half of his extraordinary power on this move. He could sense how powerful the red fish was. It was more powerful than the 8-leaf experts he had encountered. Abandoned wisdom descended. This palm seal's size was unprecedented. Even then, the supersized palm seal was barely the size of the huge fish. Boom! An explosion rang in the air. From afar, a golden ripple seemed to spread in the sky, releasing countless rings of light. Splash! The red fish's miserable cry rang in the air before it fell into the black water. Zhou frowned slightly. An expression of incredulity could be seen on his face. He could not believe the red fish did not die even though he had used half of his extraordinary power on the attack. What a powerful creature! This reminded Zhou of the 10,000-year-old Zhenghai that Yi Tianqin described. The size of Zhenghai had exceeded his understanding at that time. How could he not be shocked when he saw this? A creature from the Red Lotus domain? Zhou hovered in midair as he surveyed his dark surroundings again. He fell deep into thought. If this was the Red Lotus domain, how were humans supposed to survive in this dark space and boundless black water territory? Great Yan's imperial tutor, the Lua woman, Conch, they were all cultivators from the Red Lotus domain. The Lua woman had also described in her notebook that Great Yan was similar to where she was from. Then, where was this place? At this moment, he heard a loud splash. He looked up and saw a huge wave that rose even higher than the ones before. The huge red fish leaped out of the water again with a force much more intense and furious than before. Back for revenge? Zhou remembered the small red fish and the red fish heart. A small red fish heart gave him 100 years of life. What about this huge red fish? Alas, he only had half of his extraordinary power left. If he used it all now, he would be left with nothing. Although primal chi was dense here, it was too dangerous for him to do that. He had no guarantee that other more powerful creatures would not attack him. Forget it. Zhou lifted his right hand. A deadly strike card appeared in his palm. He exerted some force and shattered the item card. A miniature vortex, swirling anti-clockwise, appeared in his palm. He struck with his palm. The Great Seal of Fearlessness. The Great Seal of Fearless removed fear from the hearts of men and made people feel at ease. The palm seal illuminated the area within 10,000 meters. How great was this Great Seal Fearlessness? For reference, Zhou was only the size of the red fish's eyeball. However, the gigantic red fish was only the size of a fingernail compared to this Great Seal of Fearlessness. The entire place was instantly lit up. Light had always been the best element to dispel darkness and fear. The immensely large Great Seal of Fearlessness slammed into the red fish's face. Boom! A thunderous explosion resounded in the chasm, causing the black water to surge and roil. The energy explosion created a brilliant firework display in the dark. Ding! Killed the beast, Qi Yao. Reward, 5,000 merit points. This reward. Zhou had difficulty accepting it. Qi Yao? This red fish's name is Qi Yao. The explosion of energy lasted for a while before it finally dissipated. Zhou watched as parts of Qi Yao's body dropped into the black water. When he looked up, he saw a red orb floating in the air. Without a second thought, he dove and extended a hand. Monk's hand seal. He immediately grabbed it in his hand. Ding! Obtained Qi Yao's heart X1. Qi Yao's heart provides 1,200 years of life. 1,200 years of life? Was this a coincidence? According to the Lua woman, this was the same amount of life needed to break through to the 9-leaf stage for Great Yan's cultivators. Zhou removed his robes. He wrapped the red fish heart and Qi Yao's heart together and carried it on his back. He could hardly care about his appearance at this moment. Then, he glanced at the message on the dashboard. Purchase Deadly Strike card. After purchasing another Deadly Strike card, he was left with more than 3,000 merit points. Killing Qi Yao merely rewarded him with 5,000 merit points, but he had to spend 10,000 merit points on this card. It was not practical to farm for Qi Yao's hearts using item cards. Zhou purchased this card just in case he was lucky enough to encounter another Qi Yao. Qi Yao's heart. Based on the system, a cultivator could reach the 9-leaf stage with this. He would purchase the Deadly Strike card to get more Qi Yao's hearts even if it cost him 20,000 merit points per card. Unfortunately, Zhou hovered above the water for a long time, but there was no other Qi Yao. No other beasts emerged as well. Perhaps, Qi Yao had been territorial so other beasts did not dare to approach. Qi Yao's heart shone through the wrappings. There were too many hidden secrets in the abyss, but it was too dangerous to remain here. After muttering to himself for a while, Zhou felt that it was time for him to return. He flew up. Whenever he felt the pulling force, he would release some extraordinary power to negate it. Looking up from below, Zhou resembled a star flying toward the dark sky. Near the 100,000-foot-deep abyss. There were tents, tables, and chairs scattered around the campground. Wuya was sketching something like a map on the table. Eventually, he finished sketching the outline of the 100,000-foot-deep abyss. This is the structure of the top of the 100,000-foot-deep abyss. I've flown for about 8 days. It's the widest in the south and narrowest in the north. It's 1/5 the length of Heaven's Moat. Guluo village is here, not far from where we are. The Rolian's territory is to the west, and it's blocked by the forest. Due north, past several valleys, is Cloud Rage River. West of Cloud Rage River is Rongbei, Wuya explained. What's all this for? Mingxian was perplexed. Fourth senior brother. This is the bigger picture. The abyss is huge, and we can't see a thing down there. Master will surely be flying around in search of second senior brother, and he might have lost his way. I've already stationed some men near the abyss to await Master's return, Wuya explained. However, the southern part of the abyss is extremely wide. It's close to Heaven's Moat, and cultivators can't approach it easily. Mingxian gave him a thumbs up and said, "That's amazing. Thank you for the praise, fourth senior brother." At this moment, Pan Zhong walked over, bowed, and said, "Mr. Seventh, there's a report from the Imperial City. The 8-leaf cultivator has already been killed by Miss Sixth and the ancient Saint Cult Master." "I see." Wuya nodded. "The Rolians are probably flustered and frustrated with so many of their elites dead," Mingxian said. Wuya said, "If all goes well, the 12 allied nations will soon come." Carol was an 8-leaf and half cultivator. Once they have a 9-leaf cultivator, it'll signal the true coming of the 12 allied nations. They're only a bunch of misfits. Mingxian waved his hand dismissively. At this moment, young Zhenghai emerged from a tent and said, "If I may be so bold as to make a request." Mingxian immediately bowed, cupped his fists, and said, "Eldest senior brother, our lives will shorten if you talk to us like that. Just tell us what to do. They're all saying that your cultivation base is the most profound among everyone here. So, I want to spar and cultivate with you. I wonder if you have the time." Mingxian. This? How was he supposed to answer this question? He wished someone would give him the answer. "I know of an empty space around here. It's a nice place to spar. I won't take too much of your time. I can't help but feel that my saber technique has improved." "Your expression? I'm sorry, did I say something that made you feel uncomfortable?" Mingxian shook his head and said, "Eldest senior brother, please don't do this. Are you possessed by second senior brother?" "Possessed? It's nothing. I'll go. It's only a sparring session, right? Let's go. I'll spar with you, eldest senior brother." Mingxian was formulating several detailed plans in which he would be defeated. 10 days passed. Zhou was numb from all the flying. If it were not for the glow from Qi Yao's heart reminding him that he was ascending, he would have lost all sense of direction. Unfortunately, he did not manage to find Yuan'er on this trip. The airflow would move one around. This element would make it difficult for him to search for Yuan'er again. However, he was certain Yuan'er was not dead. As long as Yuan'er was alive, there was still hope. Zhou, who was lost in his thoughts, looked up at this moment and saw a round patch of the sky. The moon. The appearance of the moon invigorated his mind and senses. I'm back. Please enter the translation. Zhou did not know how much time he had spent in the darkness. The long period of flying and ascending had numbed his senses. In any case, the appearance of the moon in the skies undoubtedly invigorated him, and he felt relieved. He gauged his remaining primal chi. There was not much left. However, it was still sufficient for him to continue flying. The pulling force had long disappeared. Zhou raised a hand and launched a palm seal. The golden palm seal illuminated the area before him. He saw the familiar rock face of the abyss. Shortly after, he felt a gust of cold wind blowing against him. Swoosh! Zhou emerged from the 100,000-foot deep abyss. His vision instantly widened, and the claustrophobic sensation had disappeared. He flew up into the sky and surveyed his surroundings. His disciples were nowhere in sight. Then, he looked at the seemingly endless darkness below him. Although his appearance was calm, his skin broke out in goosebumps. Soon after, he descended near the edge of the abyss. Although it was dark, he could still see his surroundings. Zhou left the abyss and walked forward. After a short while, he realized that the group had grown slightly steep. After skirting around a huge boulder, he discovered that it was a crater that resembled a bowl. The entrance of the 100,000-foot abyss was at the bottom of the crater. Swoosh! He continued flying. The roar of the wind rang in his ears. Zhou looked up and saw snow all around him. Heaven's Moat. He realized he had already arrived at Heaven's Moat. There was an empty region where the abyss and Heaven's Moat overlapped. He flew higher. He was now at the peak of Heaven's Moat. This was the southernmost part of Heaven's Moat, the highest mountain in the world, a place where nobody could reach. He did not expect this. He took in his surroundings, confirming it was the highest point of Heaven's Moat. It was not snowing here. The snow on the ground must have been blown here from somewhere else. The wind here varied in intensity. He removed his sack. He rewrapped it in more layers to cover the red glow. Then, he slung it on his back again as he prepared to descend Heaven's Moat. After some time, he was at the edge of Heaven's Moat. He was about to launch himself into the air when a weathered and gruff voice rang amidst the roaring wind. You survived. If it were anyone else, they would have jumped in shock. However, after experiencing the darkness of the abyss, Zhou was delighted to hear another person's voice. He turned around and scanned his surroundings. Who's there? He walked along the edge of the land and saw a hidden small rock cave. The voice had come from the cave. At this moment, a figure made of smoke emerged from the cave. It billowed for a moment before gradually taking form under the moonlight. The moon shone on him, revealing his appearance. He seemed like an old man older than 60 years. His eyes were dark, and he had a dark beard. Despite his emaciated appearance, there was an unmistakably noble air about him. 3 feet of ice would not form overnight. For someone to be at the peak of Heaven's Moat, he was surely someone with high status. I'm Jiang. We meet again. We meet again? Zhou studied the person before him and asked in confusion, I've never met you before. Why did you call out to me? Jiang shook his head. He said slowly and with certainty in a gruff voice, I've met you thrice, sir. Our first encounter was when I just arrived on this land and discovered that you were the greatest 8-leaf cultivator. Hence, I requested an audience. Jiang said, during our second encounter, we talked through the night. I told you about the 9-leaf stage and the calamity that it would bring. You promised you'll never attempt the 9-leaf stage. Then, you sealed your memories. I wonder why you went back on your words and tried to reach the 9-leaf stage by force. Then, he continued to say, our third encounter was when you were assaulted by the 10 grade elites. You were gravely injured. You didn't see me, but I saw you. Zhou guessed his identity immediately. He said, Imperial Tutor? They call me Grand Duke Jiang, Jiang Wenqiu said. So, it's you. The wind roared and raged, and yet, Jiang Wenqiu remained unaffected. It made sense. Out of all the cultivators in the world, the Imperial Tutor who had knowledge of the Red Lotus domain was the only one who would appear here and guard the abyss. Well, it was either him or the adventurous Lua woman. Although I was attacked by the 10 grade elites, I didn't die. Were you the one who snuck up on me? Zhou asked. I had no other choice. Jiang Wenqiu placed his hands on his back and said, since you've sealed your memories and given up leveling up, why did you suddenly change your mind? Zhou shook his head. He asked, will the 9-leaf stage truly bring about a disaster? When he heard this, Jiang Wenqiu looked at the night skies, seemingly lost in thoughts. He muttered to himself for some time. He turned and looked at the abyss and said, Qiyao is but the tip of the iceberg. To them, humans are only a delicacy. Beasts are easy to deal with, but the hearts of men are unpredictable. You're from the Red Lotus world. Are you worried they'll destroy this place? Zhou asked. Jiang Wenqiu did not seem surprised by Zhou's question. His expression remained calm. He did not answer Zhou's question. Instead, he asked, how did you survive the coordinated attack? By sheer luck, Zhou replied, giving an ambiguous answer. Did you see Qiyao? Jiang Wenqiu asked. I didn't only see it, but I killed it as well, Zhou replied. Jiang Wenqiu was shocked. His brows were tightly knitted together. Under the moonlight, one could see the expression of incredulity on his face. I've told you there's no need to answer this question. Let me ask you this, I'm already at the 9-leaf stage. Where is this so-called disaster that you talked about? Zhou asked. Jiang Wenqiu stepped forward, slightly surprised. He appraised Zhou again. 9-leaf? I won't be convinced until I've seen it myself. He was certain in his belief that the 9-leaf stage would bring forth disaster. Zhou would not simply summon his avatar. Even if he had the disguise card, he would not use it without due cause. Since Jiang Wenqiu liked guessing, Zhou decided to let him guess. He deftly avoided the topic and said, although the Red Lotus doesn't limit one's life, it's still bound by heaven and earth's shackle. Can you stop people from trying to break heaven and earth's shackle? Jiang Wenqiu sighed and said, so, you've met Luo Shirin. Luo. Sure. Zhou repeated the name. Jiang Wenqiu turned around. He walked toward the cave and said, she's a lunatic, just like you. Where's she now? Jiang Wenqiu remained silent. Zhou added, she supported the idea of improving people's strength, in contrast to you. You're both from the same place, but you hold different views. No. Jiang Wenqiu had his back against Zhou as he said, she doesn't know how foolish her actions are. Since you encountered Qiyao, you should understand how powerful Qiyao is. Even a powerful Red Lotus cultivator wouldn't take Qiyao lightly. And? Please show me your avatar. Jiang Wenqiu stopped at the cave's entrance and turned around to look at Zhou. Zhou shook his head. Why should I show you just because you asked me to? Who do you take me for? Jiang Wenqiu's face was weathered. He said slowly, you have many secrets. Unfortunately, I don't have much time. I wish that you'd lower your cultivation base. What if I refuse? I'll just have to do it myself, then. You? Zhou was puzzled. Don't question my ability. After saying this, Jiang Wenqiu raised a hand and struck. An almost translucent palm seal sailed forth. Zhou raised his palm as well. A blue palm seal shot out. When Jiang Wenqiu saw the blue palm seal, an expression of shock appeared on his face. Blue palm seal. Boom. The blue palm seal collided with Jiang Wenqiu's palm seal.